Get Watch Wednesday, making money while we sleep, riding the roller coaster together, stacking stocks and coins each week. Market Watch Wednesday, making money while we sleep, riding the roller coaster together, stacking stocks and coins each week. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba da da. Ba 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 da ba. Market Watch. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba da da. Ba 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 da ba. Market Watch Wednesday, making money while we sleep, riding the roller coaster together, stacking stocks and coins each week. Market Watch Wednesday, making money while we sleep, riding the roller coaster together, stacking stocks and coins each week. Ba 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 da ba da da ba da da. Ba 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 da ba ba da da. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba da da. Ba 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 da ba 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 ba.
Hello, tubers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And thank you for coming on and watching Coopersthaiadventure Market Watch Wednesday. Loving it, loving it, loving it, as I like to say. Why am I in such a good mood? I'll tell you why I'm in such a good mood. Because the stock market is up and I am happy. I am happy, happy, happy. What's up? Everything's up. Because what's happening today? Mr. Powell, that's it, the guy you'd love to hate. He is going to make an announcement today of a rate cut. It's priced in now. Bitcoin did a nice rebound, went from 88,000 all the way up to 94.5 last night. Currently sitting at 92,193. So not doing too bad. Everything else is up as well. Our yield max funds that we love and hate so much, they're up too. So Misty, it did a 5-to-1 split starting Monday. MicroStrategy jumped, Misty jumped. Yesterday, MicroStrategy jumped, Misty jumped. Both jumped, and Misty started at $35.04, and it had jumped. Let me just check on current market. So I got the figure right. It has jumped $1.62. So it's currently at 36.66. Great for us mystifiers out there. Ulti is up as well. Went up 29 cents, and it is sitting at 40.46. Loving it. That's what we all been waiting for, haven't we? We've been waiting for the stock market to rebound. October, normally called Uptober in the cryptoverse, didn't happen. Moonvember, that was a moon under. And now we're in December and the markets are up 5%. 5%, I'll take it. Hey, no problem there. And the big story of the week from last week was Friday. MicroStrategy did not get accepted into the S&P 500. It did not. Some company called Carvana did. And I'm like, who the hell is Carvana? I've never heard of this damn company. Well, I've been out of the USA since the millennium. So I decided to do my deep dive that I like to do. I like to do research, find out about companies that I don't know anything about. And I did. And I looked at Carvana and I was like, oh, it's a secondhand car dealership. That's right. It's not like Ford, Tesla, Toyota, Cadillac. No, it's a second-hand dealer. It's not a new car dealer, it's a secondhand dealer, and they're in these glass buildings, and they got this little gizmo that you put this coin in, and the car gets picked up by a conveyor belt and it's dropped down on hydraulics. You get in, you drive away, and they do your financing and stuff like that. And I decided to research into this company called Carvana. And here's what I found out about them. They almost went bankrupt. They did. They almost went bankrupt during COVID. Well, a lot of companies were hurting during COVID. I hear you saying, yeah, that's absolutely true. True. Crypto took a big dive. It was during the bull market, and they took a big dive, and altcoins took a big dive. Stock market took a big dive. Everything took a big dive during COVID. But then I started researching in the company a little bit more. And there is hundreds of YouTube videos about this company called Carvana with a lot of complaints, people buying cars from them, and there's virtually no customer service. They're saying, they're waiting 2-3 months to get the blue book so they can, or the pink slip, Americans call it. Sorry, I'm thinking over here in Thailand, but they were trying to get the pink slip so they can get it taxed, get it insured, get it street legal, and it's sat at their home, and they can't use it for months on end. And there was a lot of complaints going on around them. And then I thought, well, okay, if this is such a controversial company, how did it get in above MicroStrategy? So I decided to do an even deeper dive. I wanted to know the history. I wanted to know the financing. I wanted to know who's backing this company, who is backing Carvana. And everything came back to one particular company, JP Morgan. JP Morgan has lent the company billions of dollars with a B. I'm not talking millions, I'm talking billions. And I'm like, the same JP Morgan that doesn't want strategy to be part of the indices with MSCI. Well, Saylor had a meeting with MSCI just a week ago, and he shut everybody up that were over there saying, oh, but if Bitcoin goes down, you're not going to be able to pay the interest to the dividends, to those that invested in your preferred shares. Well, he sold 4 million preferred shares, raised a lot of money to show that he could pay the dividends for the next 1 year and 8 months. All of a sudden, they got nothing to say. He's got billions of dollars now sitting there idle in cash, ready to pay for the next 1 year, 8 months. So they can't complain about him in that way. And also, just Sunday night, he announced an orange dot that he was going to be buying more Bitcoin. What did he do? He ATM'd the hell out of the common shares. Yes, he did. He bought almost 10,000. He bought over 10,000 Bitcoin for just under $1 billion US. It was like 960 something million. And I'm like, wow, this guy's a freaking legend. So basically, he's got all these spare shares that the shareholders agreed last year that he could extend the amount of shares on the market. And he just used a whack of those to buy even more Bitcoin. And the people that are into MicroStrategy, including me, I got a very big bag. 50% of my portfolio is in MicroStrategy. I really believe in the company. And he bought all this Bitcoin. Now, normally when there's share dilution, the stock goes down. It didn't. It went the other way. It outran Bitcoin, which was fantastic. Bitcoin Monday was up about 1%. MicroStrategy was up 5%, 2.5%. Then yesterday, Bitcoin went up 3%. It jumped from 88,000 all the way up to 94.5, like I said earlier. And then what happened was, you look, and MicroStrategy's up 7%. And I'm like, wow, when I went to bed, it was up 7%. And I'm like, loving it, loving it, loving it. My wife's about to take off. Okay, honey, have a great time at the gym. Yes, that is correct key. And anyways, I'm like, well, let me look at Misty. Well, Misty was up, Ulti was up, Tesla was up, everybody's up, 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 up. And I'm thinking, this is a great thing. But I still can't get my head around how the heck Carvana get in, other than the fact that they owe JP Morgan billions of dollars. Their company right now, their shares are at an all-time high. A lot of investors and people that are in the markets, the big market makers, and say the shares are way, way, way overbought, and they're expecting a big correction. Maybe that was part of the reason that JP Morgan sort of gave a push to those 10 hidden people that nobody knows who they are, that decide who gets into the stock market and who doesn't. And that is today's topic, folks. I look for controversy when it's out there and it's right there in your face. And JP Morgan is behind it yet again. So will MicroStrategy make it into the S&P 500? Yeah, I believe they were. All the betting odds were wrong. They had it at 72 to 80% chance that MicroStrategy was going to get in, and they didn't. So got to wait till March for the next one, which will be the first week of March. We'll know then, and then 3 months after that for the next one. A good friend of mine, Mark Hanna, sent me a text. I put a friendly bet of 1,000 baht that Micro would make it in, and they didn't, so I owe him 1,000 baht. But he texted me and said, I don't think that they're going to let them in until Bitcoin hits $200,000. Let's see who's right. I have no idea. But I'm a happy chappy because the markets are up, Bitcoin's up, MicroStrategy's up, Misty's up, Ulti's up, Tesla's up, and it's a good start to the month. 5%, I'll take it all day long. Let me know your thoughts today about Carvana. Those that are in the US, I don't know a lot about them other than what I was able to research. I've never had an experience with them, good, bad, or indifferent. So you guys are going to have to let me know, those of you that are watching in the USA, what you think of this company. And let's get the show started. Starting with Captain Action, who's a channel member, got the badge next to his name. Helping support the channel for only $2 a month. Thank you very much. Says hit the like button. Yes, please. If you're watching, it's free. No Brooke today, only Cooper. I did put the link in. Anybody that wants to join me up here on stage and talk and debate about the markets, come on and join us. Everybody's like, I got stage fright. So it's just me. Moving along, Thomas Stevens says, greetings from Saratoga, Florida. MicroStrategy also is at risk of being removed from MSCI. I don't think that risk is going to be there anymore. They just shut them up with having a lot of money in cold storage ready to pay the dividends for the next 17 months. So, and he says, and the MSCI indexes, correct, because they say it doesn't fit criteria of a conventional company decision January 15th. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they do there. But guess who is in charge of that decision? Two people from JP Morgan, two very high people that were in JP Morgan for over 20 years, now are working for the for MSCI. And it looks like the game is being rigged. Time will tell, and maybe there'll be some investigations into that one too. Thomas goes on to say, note, I have a big bag of MicroStrategy. So do I. 50% of my bag is in micro, and I still believe they're going to really take off in the next year. Nomad Jack says, good morning, CND. Have a great show. Thank you, Jack. Much appreciated. Richard Woolley says, good morning. Good evening, tubers. Hello, Richard. Scotty Caswell says, hello from a very cold Pennsylvania. Oh, poor Scotty and Marites, they can't get a break. They were over here in Thailand enjoying the good life, and now they're over in Pennsylvania freezing their booties off, due to come back here in the new year. Roger Walker says, good morning, good evening, Cooper and everyone. Thumbs up, yes, please. If you're watching on the live stream, it's free. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps support the channel. Michael Villa says, good evening from Cape Cod. Cold, guess I'll cash out and visit Thailand. Get over here. Cape Cod is going to be freezing this time of year, coming into the end of the first week of December. Subsy says, hello, keep up the good work. Thank you, Subsy. I will. And greetings from Wahin, says Scott S. Thank you, Scott. Good to see you again, buddy. Subsy says, can we keep Misty or sell? I'm holding it. I'm not selling it because I believe in Bitcoin. I believe that the fiat money is going to just continue to get devalued, which is going to add more price to crypto. Be it whether you believe in Solana, you believe in XRP, you believe in Ethereum, you believe in Bitcoin, it's going to keep going up because the debasement of fiat currency is going to keep going down. What you paid for $1 gave you 30 years ago, it wouldn't give you nowhere near it today. And that's why we say fiat is going to zero, because it is. You know, in 50 years' time, what you would buy for $100, you're going to be buying for $1,000 bills. I think they'll end up coming out with in the future. You know, if it's still alive, then who knows? I don't know if fiat will even be alive, or they'll just go straight to digital currency. So maybe that's something in the pipeline that the future governments will be doing. But it's a hard hold for me right now, Subsy. Ernie says, good morning, CBD and gang. Hope we get the rate cut and it helps the market. I think the market's already pretty much priced it in now. That's why you saw Bitcoin go from 88,000 to 94,500. And like I said earlier, it's just... Mark Hanna says you still need a co-host. Yeah, come on and join me if you want. Just click the link, Mark. You're more than welcome to come on and join us. And what is current price of Bitcoin? I'll tell you right now. Look at the stock market. And it is at 92,230. That's what it is currently right now. Subz says, Monday stream and Brooke missing. Is he gone or by Carvana? He is over in Australia, Subsy. He flew over a couple of days ago, and he was not a happy chappy. Why wasn't Brooke a happy chappy? Because the day of the flight, 9 o'clock in the morning, he gets an email, the flight's canceled because of mechanical issues. So he quickly gets on the phone with the airline. Is like, I got to get to Australia. And my granddaughter's having a graduation. I have to be there for the graduation. And they said, well, we can put you on another flight. Leaves a little bit later, but it'll still get you there. And he's like, brilliant. Just swap my ticket to that one. And they tell him, because he bought a business class ticket. He wanted to experience the business class. So he bought a business class ticket. Guess what? They say, we only have 2 seats left and they're economy. So he didn't get the business class. He had to fly economy over there, and I spoke to him, and he made it, and he was grateful that he got there in time for the graduation. But he will be back on December 24th. And Subsy says Carvana is at $456 per share. Yeah, they're at the all-time high, and a lot of money makers and market forecasters are saying that they've been overbought, and they're expecting a big correction. So those that are jumping on the bandwagon now thinking the stock's going to go up another 10, 15, 20% because they've been accepted in the S&P 500, they're going to be buying in at the top. If the market makers are correct, and they normally are pretty good at their predictions. Subsy says Carvana is only good at instant offer online and drop off. Okay. Matt Smith says, hi. Hello, Matt. Thank you for coming on and joining us. Travis M says, good morning from Wahin. Good morning, Travis. How you guys doing out there? You, the wife and kids. Great to have you on here and joining us. Long time no see, buddy. Richard Woolley says, you can only imagine what goes on with these types of decisions. But when there's money involved, strange things can happen. And a nod's as good as a wink to a blind horse. Absolutely correct. I agree with you 1,000% on that one. Yeah. I think because JP Morgan lent them billions. They didn't want to see them go under and not get their money back. Obviously, they're heavily invested into this company. I think that was a push to get them in the S&P 500 so their stock price can go up and they can hopefully get their money back that they lent them. And it was several billions of dollars. Matt Smith says, what happens when you get old and can't make decisions? Then you can't make decisions. Then you can't make decisions. It ain't going to matter because your brain ain't going to be working and you ain't going to know anything about it, Matt. So for me, I got my wife. She can make decisions for me. Oh my God. Talk about freaking nightmare, huh? No, I love her. She's pretty good upstairs. Every now and then she makes a bad decision, but for the most part, she's pretty good. Mike Dottie says, Coop, I just got my yearly review from YouTube. I am in your 0.01% of your listeners. That is dedication. I do it all for you and Brooke, laughing out loud, joking. You guys are great, though. And thank you for watching us 0.1% of the time, Mike, compared to what else you watch on YouTube. JJ says, Shaq's been doing commercials for Carvana. That's why it got under the S&P 500, laughing out loud. Shaq? Really? Okay. I don't watch American commercials here in Thailand, that's for sure. And I need to wet my lips. Sorry, folks. Only person here talking by myself. Let me just message Mark back so he can come on and join us if he so wishes. That's not a problem. And where are you, Mark? No chats. Yes, click link. Okay, now he knows. He's a good guy. He's very intelligent in the market. Link question mark. Come on, Mark. It's in the YouTube live stream, buddy. It's in the YouTube live stream. In comments. Okay, now let's get back to where we were. Sorry about that, folks. And Nomad Jack says, I would never buy a car from a vending machine. Yeah. I get the gimmick. It seems sort of cool to some people, but I don't know if I'd trust it buying a car from a vending machine, like you said, Jack. How do you know the service history on it? You know, there's no salesman there. You know, there's no people there, but there's no mechanics there to look over the vehicle or anything like that. It's just you go up and, you know, once you get approved, they send you out, mail out this coin. You take that coin, you put them in there, and the car comes down. I don't know if I'd like to feel out of that. If I'm going to buy a secondhand car, which is a long time ago since I bought a secondhand car, I've always bought it from a dealer with a warranty, you know, with mechanics there, with a service department, things to back me up in case there's any future problems. Not sure whether Carvana actually has that. And John P says, I guess we're both right, Coop. You said Misty $20 by the end of the year. I said only by a reverse split. Yeah, so I did look on my stock portfolio, and what it says there is for my average price that I got into Misty, it was at $20.70. That's when I got onto it. It's now saying to break even from what I got in, equivalent to the 5-to-1 split, is it has to reach like $104. I think we're a long way away from that, but who knows? It could happen. Fingers crossed. He says, my market investment makes 17%. Well, you're just keeping your head over water because they say 12 to 15%. is break even point. So 17% is good because prices go up all year long. They go up. You'll find grocery prices, electricity, water, rents, insurance, everything. There's Mark. There we go. Get him on the stage. Hello, Mark. Can you hear me, buddy?
Loud and clear.
There you are. You're in there. Let me just change this to a little bit better. There we go. You're there. Welcome to the show, buddy. What do you think about this MicroStrategy and Carvana?
Oh, well, I know a lot about it.
Well, hit me.
First off, you didn't mention, I don't think, JP Morgan stock yesterday had a horrible day.
Really? I missed that. What happened?
Well, I thought it was going to have a bounce, so I bought a bunch of it right before the close, and it went nowhere, so I had to close the trade. But it closed yesterday about $300 even. I think $300.52 is where it closed. But it opened up yesterday at around $317.18. So it dropped $17. At the same time, MicroStrategy was going straight up. I was looking at my screen because I've got all this right here. And we really did think that JP Morgan come up. Now, Carvana is an interesting company. I used to work in IT with a guy.
Well, wait a minute. Freeze. Why do you think that JP Morgan was going down against MicroStrategy going up? Where's the correlation that you see in that?
I don't think there is one. I think JP Morgan was going down because of JP Morgan, because of Jerome Powell movement is going to be speaking
this
today.
Afternoon in the U.S.
Yeah. I call him Jerome Powell movement because I think that's exactly what comes out of his mouth every time he's up there on podium. He speaks
a lot of nonsense. Yeah.
Here I'm up here and it's blah 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 blah. I used to be an investment group, and we would rally online a lot. And during his meetings, we used to play Powell movement bingo. And we would all put a word up on a bingo chart, and we would try to make the bingo rows out of the words we put on the chart. So somebody would try to guess which words he was going to say. We got bingo every time because he says the same thing over and over again. And then after that talk's done, he sends 24 Fed employees and Fed people who voted. They go on a tour of all the television shows for the next 2 weeks, and they're out there parroting whatever talking points he wants to try to convince the American public that they just didn't get their currencies debased. Now, if anybody keeps up with it, today they're going to offer $30 billion worth of 30-year notes.
Yep.
Yesterday's auction was actually graded by Rick Santelli on CNBC as only being a C+ because of how many dealers took what. They announced that they were going to stop their QT the first of the month. And on the first of the month, they actually injected $18.3 billion, I believe it was, into the repo market overnight to banks. So they're flooding the market full of cash. Now I'm a big believer in Bitcoin, and I was a big believer in MicroStrategy, but I will say that my thoughts on the matter of MicroStrategy is I don't think it will ever again see a multiple greater than like 1.5, 1.6, 1.2 or 3. There will never be a time where it goes back to a 2 multiple. There's just too much action. Yesterday, for the first time, The name changed on a SPAC owned by Cantor Fitzgerald, whose real owner is the head of commerce under the Trump administration. And they created a SPAC that used to be called CEP, Charlie Echo Papa. It's now called XXI for 21. And a Bitcoin famous person named Jack Mauers, he is behind this. And they have over, I think, $38 billion. Or no, I mean 36,000 Bitcoin was injected into that company as a Bitcoin treasury company. Also, they are going to be selling financial services. Now, they're going to be doing a lot of things that Strike is doing as well, which like credit cards, spending Bitcoin at places that take Bitcoin for, buying your cup of coffee through the Lightning Network or the Strike Network, which I have a Strike wallet. I'll be honest, I've never used it. I put $200 in a Strike wallet just to say I have a Strike wallet. I've never bought a cup of coffee with it, but I don't think MicroStrategy is going to come back to the old days. Now I'm sitting on calls for May of 2026.
Wow, you've gone not that far.
Those calls expire worthless unless strategy is above 275.
Right.
So
okay.
I might, and I decided I'm not going to, at least I've decided up to now, I'm not going to sell them. I purchased those for $80.07. I purchased them for $81.91. And those are now worth $15.45. So that's quite a sizable haircut. Over $50,000 worth of those. So I believe I've owned MicroStrategy since 2021 March.
Okay.
As you know. But I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't bet that $1,000 that those things don't expire absolutely useless. Because strategy, yeah, he raised $1 billion. He raised $973 million. I could put it up here in about 3 seconds on my screen what he filed on his 8F.
Yeah, I saw that.
The government. But 960 million of it was through his ATM, and he got like 23 million through other sources. Because his stretch is wonderful. But his stretch, even right now, stretch is only like $99 and a few pennies.
Yeah, he's got to get to that magic $100 figure. Yeah.
He needs that $100 figure, so he has to stay off of that because he needs to pin that to it. Now, here I want to offer an interesting thing to members to think about here.
What's that?
Now, I've owned many businesses, and none of them were great. I'm no Mark Zuckerberg or nothing, but I question if they've got all these lending businesses that will lend on Bitcoin.
Yes.
And you can go take your Bitcoin and put it up as collateral, and they'll give you a loan to value of 50 to 70%, like a mortgage on house, but on your Bitcoin, and they'll get anywhere from 10% to 13% on your money. And I question, why are these people in business? Well, if you've got that money and you're making 12 to 13% on it, and you have to run a whole business, you got to deal with clients, you got to have overhead, you got to pay for taxes, you're working on a spread here. Why not just take your money and put it in stretch? They're given 10.75% effective. The money you get back is deemed return of capital, and that's an IRS term. So it's deemed as return of capital dividends, so it's tax deferred for the next 10 years. Why run a business? Their best margin, they're out there, companies like Leaden and Salt are out there paying influencers to put in their YouTube ads, you know, borrow on with Leaden, borrow with Salt, borrow with Figure. Figure's a stock on the stock exchange now, and I think they do that too.
I wouldn't touch any of them.
Well, why would you do it when you could just take that money and with no effort, no hassle, and give it to put in Stretch, get 10.75% back on a year,
Yeah.
tax deferred. I mean, an interesting fella that also owns a lot of businesses and way richer than I am by far. He ended up saying, how hard is it to go into business versus Bitcoin? I mean, you want to open a business and you think, well, I've got to start a business. I got to find clients. I've got to find employees. I've got to come up with a product. I got to make sure they like the product. There's things I have to do. And why do all that? Why not just put your money in Bitcoin? Where can you now? I know it's been piss poor performance in the last year.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not up.
You're about at break even point. Yeah.
You're about break even, but I've been in that for a while too. So all I can say is I don't think MicroStrategy, there's too many baubles and bits out there competing for that money. You've got AI that needs trillions. You've got the infrastructure and the electric grid in the United States that needs trillions to upgrade. You've got all these AI companies that they just, they just put huge valuations on that people are trying to put money into any way they can. Suppliers, NVIDIA, AMD, for Christ's sake, Seagate Technologies, take a look at their stock because all this AI requires storage, and they sell the little memory sticks, and they just populate those data centers with memory sticks faster than they can make them. I mean, Seagate's been around for years. They had a stock that did nothing.
Yeah.
Seagate now is doing a lot. So all that is they're taking money away. People are day trading silver rather than having their money in Microsoft. Yeah. People, are looking at gold. People are looking at AI companies and NVIDIA. They're looking anywhere they can put their money besides besides Strategy. And, I think Strategy is a great company. And when Bitcoin does get to 200,000, they'll get a little more respect. But at that point, I don't think they'll get that humongous premium that they're ever going to get. Believe me, I'm at a point right now where I'd love to be able to get out even, but that's not happening anytime soon because I just think their day's over. There's too many. He did too good a job at getting other, Circle is out there. People are
See,
trading
now I'm
Circle.
on the other side of the fence on you on that, Mark, because they now have 660,000 Bitcoin, over 3% of the amount of Bitcoin that'll ever be made. I don't think there's another company in the world that can catch up to them. Jack Muller's 21? No. They're starting out with 30,000. They got a long way to go to get to 660,000. Not even a sovereign wealth fund could go out and buy 660,000 Bitcoin today. There's not that many Bitcoin available to buy. These hodlers are holding on for dear life, hence why it's called hodl. They're not selling their Bitcoin. They don't care if Bitcoin goes to 200,000, 500,000, $1 million a coin. They ain't selling. They're smart. They're holding because they know where it's going. Fiat's going down, crypto's going up. And I disagree with you completely on Sailor and MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy, I think you will see the MNAV go above 2. You will see it go above 2.5. And you may even see it hit 3 again.
In my lifetime?
Last year, MicroStrategy's MNAV in August last year was at 3.5. 3.5. They did a 10-for-1 stock split. It ran up in the matter of 6 weeks from $300 to $1,200.
And when it went up to $500, I was absolutely thrilled. I was ecstatic. Yep. But in reality, I'm going to say something that's going to outrage you and a lot of people. I don't think, and I was in there with them, in hindsight, I don't think it deserved that kind of heat. And here's another thing. People can short through puts MicroStrategy stock to write a put on massive amounts of Bitcoin. So they do a put on MicroStrategy, and that put forces a market maker. If you buy a put that has a minus 0.4 delta, that forces that market maker to go out and buy and to go out and sell 40 shares for every contract of 100 that you buy that put for.
Correct.
So that puts more selling pressure on, and that just keeps. There's no other way to hedge. If you've got a lot of Bitcoin, not me, I mean a lot of Bitcoin. You know, the guy who's got big bags. If he wants to hedge Bitcoin, he literally goes in the stock market and shorts MicroStrategy. It's the only way that he really, because where he can put the pressure on to protect his Bitcoin. And when MicroStrategy goes down, his put value goes up, and that helps cushion the fall. And all the corporate bond holders, the reason they hate corporate bonds on MicroStrategy with his 6 or 7 corporates that he's got left on the convertibles, they're not attached to the Bitcoin. Doesn't matter if he ever pays them off or not. Those Bitcoin are unencumbered, 100%. But he's got that debt spread out all the way up to, I think, 2032. And he's paying virtually nothing. He's got some of those convertible bonds for less than 0.5%, less than 50 basis points. He's paying interest on. It was free money, and the Bitcoin's not encumbered, so he doesn't want to pay him off. But the people who want to take shots at him, like Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan, they say, oh my God, he's got all this debt. Well, he's got the best debt in the world. I'll take $8 billion if you'll give it to me for 0.5%. If I can't make 0.5% on that $8 billion every year, shoot, just shoot me in the head right now.
Okay, let's get on with the comments and read some more comments. People are typing away, and we're here talking away.
Well, we're giving them some knowledge if they're interested in this.
Yeah.
And Carvana is a great company. My friends bought 4 cars from him.
I'm hearing the opposite.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
He just says it's so easy. He goes online, tells them what he's got, picks a car out of the picture, says, I want to trade it in. What kind of price do I get all online? And then it's delivered to your door on the back of a flatbed next day. And they'll bring it from all over the country for you. Or you can go to one of their big, tall high rises and push a code at the door, and your car will come down an elevator from a high rise, and you just take your car. It's seamless. He thinks it's the best way to buy a 2-year-old car he knows, and he loves it. So makes some people happy. But I remember when their stock was $3 a share.
Yeah, the during COVID, yeah, it tanked big time. Anthrock Morton says, when you're old and can't make decisions and you're alone, why? You get a dartboard. There you go. You can't make decisions, throw it at a dartboard. Let that make it for you. She goes on to say, I bought 2 cars in Atlanta from Carvana, and they were both fine. Drove for Uber with both of them, so plenty of use out of them both. Okay, so one person there seems to like Carvana. I've got mixed feelings on it based on what research I was able to find out. Mike Dottie says, better than Yellen's Keynesian playbook. Sure, but Jerome, yeah, time for new leadership. I agree. What do you think of Jerome there, Mark?
Jerome Bowel movement.
Trump likes to call him.
Jerome Bowel movement.
Richard Woolley says, my ex sold her car to them, and they apparently did everything they said they would, and she would have told me if it didn't go well. Okay, so there's positive people. But then YouTube rarely preaches the positive. They like to preach the negative, don't they? You know, when they have a bad experience with somebody will put it on YouTube. So I have to take everything with a pinch of salt, of course. Cooking with Nina says, good night, Cooper from Jacksonville, Florida. Love to watch you all, Chef Nina. Thank you, Chef Nina, for coming on and joining us. Much appreciated. Richard Woolley says, it seems like for some reason the establishment is not happy with Saylor. Yeah, he's beat them all to the punch. I see a lot of banks upset, like JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo, and the such, because you can send Bitcoin anywhere in the world or crypto for pennies compared to what you can send the US dollar, the euro, the British pound, you know, the yen, you know, the Thai baht. There's banker fees involved, and they don't like it, you know. And what I'm seeing Saylor's going to eventually do, and let me know whether you think the same, Mark, I think he's moving towards the first crypto bank, and that he wants to become a crypto bank, and I think it's a good thing. What do you think?
Well, he is the first crypto bank. He just doesn't have checking. He's got savings, and he's giving out 10.75%. So a person probably in the United States don't realize it yet. They're probably there's something like $7 trillion in low interest savings accounts and CDs and money markets. They're getting 4 to 5% that is taxable. Let's say it's a 30% rate. They end up with 3%. He's going to give them 10.75% effective rate, tax deferred for 10 years on return of capital. How in the world?
Yeah. So in other words, if you gave him $1 million, Mark, if you gave Saylor $1 million into Stretch, he would pay you effectively $10,000 a month for life.
He'd pay you your $1 million would get you $107,500 for life.
Yeah.
Per year. And there's people with that kind of money where it's just sitting in a bank. And here's the next part. The banks, he is a threat to fractional reserve banking that started in 1600. The bank, you give $1 million to the bank, they loan it out 5 times because they only keep 2% if they're keeping that. I had an attorney. He bought part of a bank. We were good friends for 20 years. He came to me and said, Mark, this is like printing money. It's like stealing. It's so good. And he's a threat to JP Morgan, because why would anybody put their money in JP Morgan for 4% tax when you can get 10.75%? And here's the thing. He can back it up. He's like 7 to 8 to 1 capital. He's 11%, I believe it is, debt to equity ratio.
Correct.
And JP Morgan has like 2% of the assets on file if somebody wants to go get them. So he's the biggest threat JP Morgan's seen since they became a bank in the 1800s. I mean, since JP Morgan himself was around, him and all of the hard money lenders. Now, there may come a day where Bitcoin doesn't go up 60% a year. This year it didn't, but that doesn't mean in 2026 it doesn't go up 100% or 120% and make up for it. You have to have a long time horizon, both on MicroStrategy and on Bitcoin. If you don't have 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, or life as a time horizon, if you think you need that money in 2 months, you better stay away from this. This is going to hurt you, boy. This is going to hurt you. You're not going to have the money there when you want it. You're going to have to wait. I agree
with that completely. Yep.
You're going to have to wait. So, Strategy is a bank. They are a bank. You can go put your money in and get interest for life. What else does a bank do? They're not checking and they don't give you a debit card. This is strictly a savings instrument. And if you want to put it in for a longer term, you can have a different deal. And people don't think about this, but the preferred shares, Strike, Stride, Strife, Stretch, and Stream. If I miss one, kick me. But
no, you got them all right.
Those preferred shares are at the top of the equity stack. If MicroStrategy or Strategy were to get in financial trouble, those shares get paid before anybody, even before the bonds. He put them at the top of the financial stack. The shareholders are the last people to get any money out of the deal.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, those people who put their money in are going to do quite well. And I think he's out there selling that to the American people. I've got friends who don't keep up with Bitcoin, but have money. And I've told this to a few of them. They said, what? 10.75%? These guys, some of them, they don't watch CNBC. They don't pay attention to this. At some point, you don't pay attention. And they're saying, I'll have to think about that. Well, as more people think about it, they're going to take their money out of those low accounts and put it in Strategy's bank. I still don't think, and the betting window is open, Coop, that they're going to see 2 point MNAV in the next year. Let's read a comment.
I don't know. But I still believe in Saylor. I think he's doing the right thing. I think that if the American government wants to get 1 million Bitcoin, there's only one way they're going to do it. They're going to have to buy out Strategy. Will he sell? I don't know. Maybe if his back's up at, is against the wall so much with the big banks leaning on him so hard and he fears his company could go under, he might sell to the American government. As Tom Lee says, if the American government wanted to buy Strategy, they'd have to pay the shareholders $3,000 a share. Well, shit, it's at $188 right now, $188 a share. What shareholder is going to say no to that? Would you? I know you're a MicroStrategy shareholder.
Yeah, bring it on, baby. You can have it, but that's not what
exactly.
They don't need that. It could, but they don't need that.
There's no other way
It's-
for him to do it. You cannot buy for love or money 1 million Bitcoin right now, Mark. It'd be impossible.
I think you'd run the price up a bit, but you can buy.
Where are you going to find it? The hodlers aren't selling.
The over the
whales are done
counter
selling
desk.
now.
They keep coming up. They keep coming up with it every single day on the over the counter.
Mm.
I mean, IBIT yesterday went up.
So
just like
Strategy.
MicroStrategy. And to be honest, I'm with a lot of investors that we talk, and we have chat rooms where we talk during the market all the time.
Mm.
And I've got people who are really experienced and say, I got no clue to figure out whether Bitcoin goes up or down. Technical analysis has no effect on it.
Yeah.
None. I mean, it goes up or down because the wind blows left or right. I can't figure it out either.
Mm.
Is it going to be up Monday? Only the Lord knows.
Mm.
I mean, let me tell you, when you deal with trying to trade IBIT, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. Because every time you think you got it figured out and you zig, it zags.
Yeah.
So
Very
I don't think strategy is ever going to have that big MNAV, but that doesn't mean strategy can't be $1,000 or $2,000 a share.
Exactly.
Because
and that's what I'm
they're
holding on
rehype. They're controlling the price of Bitcoin through hypothecation.
Mm.
I guarantee they've been trying it for silver for 50 years and it's breaking right now. And that's why silver has went up so high.
Mm.
I mean, silver just keeps going up because it is a finite supply for what it's used for and the industrial usages.
So let me ask you a question then, Mark. What are your thoughts on strategy and the MSCI?
Well, the MSCI stands for Morgan Stanley. That's the MS.
Yes.
So they're all part of this club. Commercial bankers are shaking their boots because there's a growing number of companies that are tying financial services to Bitcoin. And they don't like it. They're going to see outflows. They sure don't like that. So I'm sure that, if you think Jamie Dimon doesn't know exactly the names and phone numbers of the 10 members of the S&P 500 committee, they're supposed to be secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a bridge to sell you. He's got them on speed dial. Anytime he wants to pick up the phone and call them, and they'll answer him. Jamie Dimon's a sharp individual. There's no doubt. So he's got them on speed dial. And I'm sure he whispered in their ear. And anytime you think that strategy is going to get in the S&P 500, I don't know. I think they've got the same chance as lettuce that you send by rabbit at getting there.
Okay. What do you think? Is the MSCI going to kick them out of the indices?
I don't think they can kick them out of the QQQ.
No.
I don't think that they can do that. But I think they can keep them getting in the S&P. So, I mean, they got in the QQQ and
last year. Yeah, this time last year they got it.
And they got in, they slipped in. I think that they're a little bit like some orange-haired guy that everybody hates. They got in when everybody thought they didn't have a chance and nobody tried to sabotage them. It's like, they can't win, so they can't get in, so we don't have to say nothing to nobody. We don't have to pressure anybody. And I think he slipped in the door. But I don't think they're happy about him being there because they don't want to give him more money to buy more Bitcoin that goes up in value so that he can lend against it to people at 10.75%.
So you're being a
straight.
betting man. You're being a betting man. What do you think the decision by MSCI is going to be on January 15th?
Oh, I think it's going to be a negative decision, but I don't think it'll have any teeth. I don't think it'll kick them out of the QQQ. But I do think it will be a negative mark on their record. What they don't want to happen is they don't want Strategy to get a higher rating for bonds.
I think it's inevitable now. Now they have the cash flow. I think they're going to have to raise them from a B-.
Well,
next year.
You would think so. I think with time, you know, they keep making dividend payments. With time, they're gonna build a credit record just like a young teenager does.
Yeah.
You know, if you borrow money and you pay it on time,
your credit
after a few years, you're gonna have it. If you pay everything before it's due, you're gonna have an over 800 credit rating. That's the secret to getting a good credit rating. The secret to getting wealthy is to not have any debt at all. You can't get wealthy even with debt, period. First thing people need to do to start getting some wealth, if they're younger, is to get out of debt. So I don't see where the banks are going to let them have their day. But they're not going to be able to stop people from hearing from their friends. I'm getting 10.75%. It's paid to me every month. I've got no worries. And it's backed 8-1 by Bitcoin instead of being backed at 2% by JP Morgan or by Wells Fargo. If there's not going to be a run on his Bitcoin, nobody's encumbered it. And you can't get bailed in, which is what's going to happen to a lot of people. You don't own the money you have in a bank. If you've got more than $250,000 in the bank, FDIC is not going to cover you. And if there's a run on more than one bank, FDIC can only cover about 1.5% of the deposits in the United States, even though they claim that they're going to cover everybody. I mean, our government's broke. The states are broke. The cities are broke. You know, the population's broke. What, 45% of the American population couldn't scrape $400 together if their transmission needs repair in their car? You know, we're a broke United States. That's why I got out and came to Thailand. The United States is a broken country. I love it. I love the United States, but they've got a lot of things wrong, and it all started in 1913 with the Federal Reserve.
Correct. Before then, there was no interest. There's no interest at all.
Benjamin Franklin said everything's inevitable except for death and taxes.
True.
Death and taxes are going to happen. You notice he didn't say inflation?
Yeah.
We didn't have inflation from 1776 all the way through 1913. There was no inflation. In 1905 or 1906, you could buy a Model A Ford for $290 when the average Ford employee made $200 a week. So less than 1.5 weeks salary would buy you a new car. And at that time, that was a nice little car. So you can't do that after 1913. As Henry Ford said, if they knew how corrupt the banking system was, there'd be a revolution tomorrow morning. They just don't know. Yeah.
Okay, moving along. Let's get on with some more questions, Mark. I love talking to you. You're a very knowledgeable man. W Secret to Success says, hello, gents, just joining. But did I hear DC say his cost basis is $100 per share for Misty? That is correct. Ouch, he says. That's exactly why I sold before the reverse split. I've been there in some too many times. And I'm there for the weekly dividend. As long as I still get paid and my head is above water. I'm happy. I have my growth stocks like MicroStrategy and Tesla, and starting to get into NVIDIA right now. I think NVIDIA's got a lot of room to run right now, and I'm starting to get into them. But for Misty, it's one of those ones. Yes, it did a 5-to-1 reverse split, but as long as Bitcoin runs, MicroStrategy runs, Misty will run back up as well. This year hurt everybody, as Mark said. Bitcoin went absolutely nowhere. The bull run, the year after the halving, Bitcoin was supposed to go to the moon. It didn't. It's flat. If you look back a year ago today, we're roughly where we started from. You know, maybe a little bit under. I think it was around about 100,000 about a year ago in this time in December. Well, guess what? You know, we're at 92,000 right now. So it's a little bit underwater treading, and MicroStrategy's down, Misty's down. I think there is room for it to run back up. Last year, when Bitcoin was on a run, MicroStrategy did a 10-for-1 stock split, and everybody was happy, including Mark Hanna here. Misty was paying $3 and $4 a month dividends. Right now, it's 50 cents a month dividends. But I think when MicroStrategy was on a run, Bitcoin was on a run, Misty, the Yield Max Fund, knew exactly what they were doing, and they were making bank. They don't know what they're doing now going into a bear market that we're in right now, I'll call it, because I don't see a bull market until next year. But I think when MicroStrategy runs back up next year with 3 Fed rate cuts coming in next year, when Powell's gone, the new Fed chair's in there, I think you're going to see Misty recover. And can it get back to $100 a share? 50-50 would be my guess. 50-50. I'll give it the best odds possible. 50-50. Mark, I know you don't like Misty at all. That's okay.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I don't think it'll ever get there. I'm sorry.
I think it's 50-50. I can see Bitcoin by this time next year somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000. I can see MicroStrategy somewhere between $500 and $1,000. I can see Misty probably somewhere between $60 and $80. That's my thoughts. What say you, Mark?
The betting window is open with you, Cooper, for the bottom of those ranges. Okay, I will put my money behind the fact that Misty gets to $100. Okay, when I'm weighing 120 pounds.
Is that with 1 foot or both?
Yeah. Well, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want, and that's spelled MSTY.
Okay, I noticed you didn't comment on what I said for my Bitcoin and my MicroStrategy prediction, so you must be in line with me on those thoughts for end of next year.
What did you say for the end of next year for
Bitcoin? Somewhere around the 150 to 200,000 by this time.
That's reasonable. That's more than reasonable.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying by end of next year.
I hate to tell you this. I think we could drop down another 20% or more before we get there. I mean, you know, if I woke up Monday and Bitcoin was down at 82 again, I wouldn't die of a heart attack of shock. So there's just too much manipulation going on. There's a lot holding down. Sooner or later, the sellers are going to be done.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, the sellers are going to say, I'm just not selling anymore. I'm buying. Okay.
Yeah.
You knock it down, I'm buying. That's fine. When that happens, it will shoot up, and it will shoot up quick. We will see a $15,000 candle in a day.
We've already seen a 10.
Yeah, but we'll see a 15 a day, and we may see multiple 10s in a week. When it goes, it's just going to go. It's going to explode like somebody lit a match to it. But as far as like Misty ever coming back, all those dividends they were giving, a lot of it was return of your own capital. They don't have it to give it back to you. Where's it coming from, Coop? They have to make it on their options. Let me tell you, the Misty's options chain, I was, selling and buying their contracts to death a year ago. And the premiums were twice as good as they are now. You can make more money selling options on, and I'm one of them, selling on BMNR, which is the Ethereum company owned or chairman by Tom Lee. You can make better money on their options right now. Don't get me wrong. Strategy still has the best option chain. They still have the most action. They're the number 5 option chain behind people like Microsoft and NVIDIA. I mean, the action in their chain is incredible, but the premiums aren't what they used to be.
No,
the premiums were more. Remember, he said, I'm taking the volatility out of Bitcoin for those people who are buying preferred shares. Okay. Well, that volatility went somewhere, went out the door with ATMs. So the market makers who are making the options change. I'll tell you what most people don't understand. The options chains drive the price of strategy. The options trade so much. They trade 5 million contracts
a week.
I think I think a day. They trade.
That might be right. Yeah, I thought it was
they
like
trade
2 million a day and then 5 million a week or something. I read.
There's only 4 companies in the United States that trade more options than strategy does, but it drives the price because those market makers who are selling those options cannot sit naked. When you buy a call, okay, if you buy a call with a 20 delta, they have to go and actually buy 20 of those shares.
Correct.
They can't sit totally naked. And if you buy a call at the money, they've got to go buy 50 shares for every contract. But if you buy a put at the money, they got to go sell 50 shares. So these makers, they control the price. It isn't the people who go and actually buy MSTR. They're controlling the price. It's the market makers who are doing more buying than people or institutions. And that's another thing. Strategy ain't going to die when BlackRock, Fidelity, and Vanguard and State Street are probably the 4 largest holders of MSTR stock. Vanguard wouldn't let their people buy anything to do with Bitcoin or iBit or anything else, but they were still a huge owner of strategy stock, like 7%.
Yeah.
So those companies don't want, Cantor Fitzgerald with Howard Lutnick being in the United States cabinet as Commerce Secretary. They've got hundreds of millions of dollars in strategy stock.
Yep.
As well as Lutnick having hundreds, he said this on TV, he has hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin himself personally. So they're not going to let strategy, the administration's not going to let strategy be a bad example. And they're going to get people off strategies back. But, Jamie Dimon's a force. And if you think he didn't influence all this MCSI story, I think he did. You never prove it. You'll never prove it. It's all a handshake and a wink and a call in the middle of the night or or let's have lunch together.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about lunch, okay? And it's just a nod and a wink, and he knows who the people are. If you believe he doesn't, because it's a secret deal. You know? These guys have
there's
been
definitely
playing.
manipulation going on. I agree with you 1,000% on that.
They're all wearing the same color jerseys on the field, and we ain't got none.
Exactly.
We're on the field by ourselves.
Yeah.
Wearing T-shirts. They got the same jerseys on. Team Wall Street. They're all against you.
Okay, so I just told you my prediction for Bitcoin by end of the year next year, 150 to 200. You said that's very reasonable. I said MicroStrategy somewhere between 500 and 1,000. What's your thoughts on that one?
It's got no chance of 1,000.
I said somewhere between 500 and 1,000.
It's got no chance of that. I'd say
even at Bitcoin 200,000,
400 to 600.
Okay, not too far out then.
I'd say 400 to 600 it's got a shot of. Above 600 is going to be extraordinary. Above 600, Bitcoin is going to have to be at the upper end of its range too. Yeah.
Okay.
The only other caveat is the caveat for Strategy's actual price is how much Bitcoin it has, and that's directly related to how good of a sailor is, because he said on his conference call for his earnings, he says, my job and the job of my team is going to be out there on television shows, at conferences, and my job is to educate people on the benefits of my preferred offerings. Because if he can get people to take his, I'll give you, 10.75 cash back every year, tax deferred, return of capital, ROC dividends, ROC, return of capital dividends. If I can convince enough people to give me money and buy more Bitcoin, if he can get to 1 million Bitcoin, his price is going to go up because the MNAV is going to be up. I don't care if the MNAV's 1. If he goes to 1.2 million Bitcoin, price is going to double. So if he does a good job selling his preferreds,
and he's currently in the UAE doing just that right now. He's meeting sovereign wealth funds all over the Middle East. Yeah.
I've spent a few hours watching that conference. It's being broadcast, like 8 hours a day on YouTube. And he does a good job selling, but he has to sell through YouTube. The people who's at that conference aren't going to put their money into his stretch. They've got Bitcoin and they've got it into multi-signature wallets to protect it. They're not going to put it in stretch. They know Bitcoin is the real deal. And those people who went over there to attend that conference, they're not his audience, but they're the way that he can broadcast his message to other people who are sitting on money and don't want any risk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Chris McQuilkin says,
thing.
I've decided to shun anything but pure Bitcoin plays going forward. So he doesn't want to get into anything but pure Bitcoin plays. Yeah. Anthrock Morton says, I don't know about the stock of Carvana, but as a product, I was well satisfied. Online, huge selection, got exactly what you want for the price you're willing to pay. So easy, even I could use it, laughing out loud. Okay, so it seems you get what you pay for by Carvana, but a lot of the market makers are saying it is way overbought and they're expecting a correction. We shall see. Only time will tell. And he's got his HODL hat on. Well done. Hold on for dear life there, Mark. Travel Trade says, did anyone see Tom Lee's Dubai presentation? Worth a look. Did you see that, Mark?
Yes, I did.
And what were your thoughts?
Every time Tom Lee speaks, you listen. The worst thing I ever did I remember like yesterday in 2017 when he was on CNBC and everybody was talking bad about Bitcoin. And he said, everybody should go buy 1% of their portfolio in Bitcoin right now and call it insurance. If it works, it's insurance. And if it doesn't work, 1% doesn't matter. Well, he came back on in 2021 and he said he had 1% of his portfolio in Bitcoin. He said, and now it's worth 40% of my portfolio. It's 40% of his whole portfolio in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't listen to him when he was on CNBC. I remember sitting at my desk and I was in Cincinnati, Ohio in 2017 listening to him, and I just dismissed it. And that was one of the worst mistakes I ever made in my life. And you know what the difference between a mistake and anything else is, Cooper? My dad told me this. He said, in business, mistakes cost money. Anything else is just an error in judgment that you can ignore. Because when you're in business and you make a mistake, you'll know it because it cost you money. And that was a mistake, not listening to Tom Lee. So when he comes on the air, he's probably my most respected on-air personality on Ethereum or Bitcoin, or the markets for that matter. He's right way more than he is wrong. So go back to another question.
Tom Lee, go ahead.
Go back to another question.
Okay, 1 second. Before we get more into the comments, Tom Lee likes to look at 4 and 5 year time frames. So let's look at a 4 and 5 year time frame. Where do you see the price of Bitcoin by 2030, say?
600,000 to $1 million.
600,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
So easily a 5x from where we are now.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Because I don't discount this year. This year was a year of manipulation and consolidation. It wasn't distribution, and it was adoption. So if you have to characterize this year in Bitcoin, it was consolidation, adoption, accumulation, not really distribution. And that will all get made up for in the coming months. You don't hold a beach ball underneath your feet in the pool before it slips out and comes screaming to the top. So this time's not wasted. It just appears wasted. Any stock under consolidation and adoption, it doesn't matter. More people are adopting it than ever before. It will come up 600 to $1 million by the end of 2030. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ditto. Moving on with the questions then. W Secret Success says banks make millions of dollars in traditional wire transfers today. They're not wanting that revenue stream to end no time soon. And I agree. They're not. That's why they're fighting MicroStrategy hand over foot right now. But with all the disruption going on in crypto, what do you think, Mark, is going to change once the Clarity Act gets passed by Congress?
Oh, a ton. But here's the thing Congress is doing wrong. They're making the mistake Ronald Reagan made back in the 80s when Ronald Reagan came out with his tax cuts. Ronald Reagan came out with wonderful tax cuts in 1980, and he made the mistake of deferring the tax cuts to the future. It's like we passed a law and the tax cuts are not going to take effect for a year. Okay.
Right.
They passed the Genius Act already, but it doesn't take effect for a year. It doesn't have any teeth in it. They need to make these laws retroactive, not in the future. They need to say people who are able to comply with these laws need to be able to take advantage of them yesterday, not in the future. And they're going to come out with the new acts, and they're going to be wonderful. And they're going to say, well, this is going to take place, in we're going to do it in March of 27. And that's because they don't want anything to take effect before the midterm elections, because they don't want to take any chance that somebody doesn't like it. And if you don't have it affecting people's lives before the election.
Now, I've read the Clarity Act, Mark. I don't see any deferred mention in there whatsoever.
You don't yet, because it hasn't come up for a vote anywhere. All it's been is in committees. Somebody's going to come out and want to slow this down. They're going to say, we need time. We need time to make sure we have the structure in place to enforce the act and to make sure that the act's good. See, what's happening right now, which is good, is you've got people like the head of the CFTC and the head of the SCC who are actively working together to just write the regulations that are allowing things to happen, such as the SEC coming out, and even the Treasury coming out and just saying, banks, you can hold Bitcoin if you want. You can let your customers buy and sell Bitcoin. Well, I'm going to tell everybody out there who might be listening to Cooper's wonderful Thai adventures here, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, for God's sake, don't let them keep it. Not your keys, not your cheese. Don't be a fool, because they will bank in you. When the banks fail, they will take that asset too, and they will bail in. See, there's never going to be another bailout of banks in this country if there's more than one of them. If it's a big systemic thing, there's not going to be a bailout. It's going to be a bail-in, because when you give the bank your money, it becomes their money. It becomes an asset on their balance sheet as well as a liability. They can hypothecate it, do fractional reserve lending, and if they go and they fail, they're going to take all your money, just like Cyprus did, like it happened in Italy. It's happened in Turkey, I think. The banks just take people's money to survive. So if you buy Bitcoin, don't let them keep it. Make sure you keep control of it.
Okay. Good advice. Richard Woolley says, I totally disagree with the no debt comment.
Wow. Okay. I'll clarify my no debt comment.
Go ahead.
If you buy debt to buy a revenue producing or appreciating asset, if you take on debt to buy a beautiful house on the beach, if you take on debt to buy something that you're turning into a business that'll produce income, if you take on debt to buy fine artwork that you fully expect to appreciate, then that's taking on debt to do business, and that's more like rich guy, poor guy. I'm $1 billion in debt and loving it, just loving it. But when you take on debt to buy cars that depreciate, to buy a color TV, to pay for your groceries, to take on non-asset, low time preference items, you will never get ahead in life. If you're taking on debt that's going to pay you every month, whether it pays you every month or whether it pays you when you eventually sell the asset, buy apartment buildings. When I was in my 20s, I had over 200 apartments that we rented out. Now, I was a slumlord, though. Let me look right in the camera. I was a slumlord. I had the worst apartments in the whole world. I had cockroaches bigger than rabbits. I'm telling you, it was bad. But I was 22 and I was going to make money however I could make money. I couldn't afford the nice stuff, so I bought the stuff in the bad neighborhoods. But what can I say? But if you're doing that for debt, that's fine. So Richard Woolley, maybe that clarifies it, and maybe now you'll agree. But if you think people are ever going to get ahead in life buying their groceries and putting it on credit, paying 21%, 23% interest on their credit card, or seeing that new TV with the QLED screen that's 85 inches and they just got to have it and they put it on their credit card, these people are going to get poor forever. They see those new wheels, those shiny chrome rims and new tires they can put on their ride and put it on a credit card, pay later. You know, my girlfriend has a sister, and she's going out and she's going to buy a brand new truck this week. She's going to pay for it for 7 years. Now they need a truck and they have to finance, but you think they would go out and save their money and just buy an older truck and pay cash? No, that's not the way they do it. And they will be broke forever. They'll never have money. Not paying for cars for 7 or 8 years.
That's a long debt term plan there.
Yeah. Listen to this. Bloop, 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 bloop. That's how underwater sounds. That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Mike Dottie says, JP from YieldMax annoys me. Laughing out loud. I can't trust that guy. Just can't do it right now. I know a lot of people's upset with YieldMax, including me, and I am a big shareholder in YieldMax, I must admit. But I do see that there will eventually be an upside. Will it get back to $100 next year? Probably not. I will agree there. Could it get to $60 to $80? 50-50. But I think in the years to come, it will get back up there. And in the meantime, I'm collecting a weekly dividend. I'm happy. So as long as I'm getting my dividend and they're paying me on time every time, and I don't have to wait weeks for my money, I'm happy. I can take the downturn. It's not hurting me at all. I bought double of what I thought I needed, and I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it, but my head's above water. You guys get what I mean. And I think, okay, maybe it takes 2 to 3 years before it gets above $100 per share. And maybe they do a normal split instead of a reverse split, and it's at $30 per share when it gets to 300 or something. Maybe that'll happen in 5 years' time. I don't know, but I'm happy collecting a weekly dividend. I'm happy waiting it out, and I think that the future's orange because Bitcoin's orange, MicroStrategy's orange, and Misty will capture anywhere from 50 to 70% of the upside of MicroStrategy, providing it doesn't take off like a rocket. I think we're in good hands for now, and I'm just sitting and waiting. In the meantime, I'm getting paid every week, so it takes me 2 years to break even on my money that I invested in the stock. Then I'm playing with house money, and I'm still collecting money every week. So it's a win-win for me. I'm okay getting 50% return on my money. Anthrop Morton says, hang on. Anthrop Morton says, trying to remember which Titan was being interviewed on CNBC who said what he likes about Jamie Dimon is that after the meeting, Jamie walks him to the elevator. Doesn't usually happen, he said. Did you see that interview? I just forgot who the Titan was.
No, but that just goes to my assertion that Jamie Dimon is a smooth operator. He's just like Santana sung about. He's a smooth operator. He's got like 3 O's in smooth. And you know, he is polite. He's respectful. I just saw a clip of him the other day saying when Bitcoin was down at $100 that it had no value. It will never be anything. It's going to zero. But he still said it respectfully. So the fact that he walked somebody to the elevator is no different than walking a person that is in your home to their car. You don't just say, well, we'll see you later, walk them to the front door, close the door behind them. You walk them to your car. That's respectful of your guest. And Jamie Dimon's respectful. I was just looking here. You know, I told you about that 21 owned by Cantor Fitzgerald. Well, I bought shares of that at 1050. Yesterday was the first day it traded. It's a 1450 ask right now.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it went up that much because I bought it. I said, I'll just hold a small little curmudgeon of this. And
yeah, he got to, Jack Muller's got to ring the bell at the stock exchange yesterday.
I missed that.
Yeah, I saw it
trading
on CNBC.
But yeah, I made I made pretty good on that. I mean, 1050 to 1450 is a pretty good lick.
The 40% increase.
Yeah, I do good.
Vegan Warrior says, smart people know you just hodl. Agreed. And he says, Bitcoin to 1 million. I agree. I think eventually it's going to hit there. My prediction for Bitcoin 1 million is 2032. I think we're about 7 years out, not 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's okay at that point. I just hope I make it. I just hope I live long enough to see it. I'm older than you.
That's my wish as well. Yeah, that's my New Year's resolution, that I live to see Bitcoin hit $1 million. And then I'm like, okay, you can take me now, God. I'm ready. Alpha Romeo says, good morning from a beautiful day in Pattaya. Welcome to Pattaya. Yeah, he just arrived the other day, same day as Brooke was flying out. Eurofit says, strategy's problem is Sailor. Well, a lot of people thinking that right now, as strategy price is underperforming Bitcoin. So, and their MNAV is sitting at, I think it's 0.89, and then it went up to 0.92, and now it's hovering around 1. So yeah, whenever strategy goes down, people blame Sailor, but when it goes through the moon, people love Sailor, and he's the best man on the planet.
Well, Sailor is at fault for one thing.
Go for it.
He did not know that convertible bonds were not the answer. And he did not know that ATMs of his common stock wasn't the answer. He came up with his iPhone moment when he came up with the preferreds.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to pay them back. Giving them interest is no big deal. And if he would not have taken he's got to be up to $40 billion of market cap out of this thing now. He went through his first 21 billion in 3 months. He says, we're going to do it in 3 years. He stole that 21 billion out of his common shares in 3 or 4 or 6 months. And then he went back for another 21 billion. So he's got to be up closer to $30 billion now. I could check, but he should have never did that. He should have stayed away from the ATMs, and his stock might still be up at $600 a share. Stayed away. So he wouldn't have 650,000 Bitcoin. Maybe he only has 450. But, you know, you live and learn. He invented this. It wasn't like he could just was taught this. I mean, he came up with an idea that nobody had ever done, a perpetual preferred listing. There was preferreds, but nobody had ever done a perpetual preferred. So, you know, is it Michael Saylor's fault? Yeah, he made a couple mistakes, and he can't get out of them right now. But those mistakes will drift out of sight in 5 years. The convertible bonds will be gone, and he won't be leaning on his ATM of the common stock anymore, because the word will get out that you can get 12%. I mean, when you think about would you have been better off if you had known before you bought Misty that you could have got 10.75% tax deferred? would you have been better off putting your money into Stretch?
Yes. Probably.
Yeah. End of story.
Yeah.
People are going to start realizing that he's going to have all the money he needs to buy all the Bitcoin he needs, and he won't have to tap the ATM. What he did, taking out the $963 million last week to build the U.S. dollar reserve to pay the interest, he was fending off the wolves at the gate. And he had to do it, and he should have done it. That's a good idea.
Oh, you shut up a lot of people. A lot of the naysayers got shut up instantly.
Sure, he's got a lot. Sure, he shut up a lot of people.
Yeah.
But, he's made mistakes too, but we're all human. Everybody makes mistakes. He just evolves. And if you think you can find a smarter guy to head strategy than Michael Saylor, I want to meet him. I want to go to lunch with him. I want to see where I can pick off his brain, because Saylor's definitely one of the sharpest knives in my drawer.
Yeah, I agree. And for those of you that don't know Mark is a YouTuber, and his YouTube channel is called Retired on a Bitcoin Standard. He's had some big interviews on other people's YouTube channel, including Retired Working for You YouTuber here in Thailand, very famous Canadian YouTuber. And he's done interviews with a certain Australian Bitcoiner. That was a good interview. I enjoyed watching
Sean
that.
Clark.
So yes, Sean Clark and several other people in the know. And if you want to follow his channel, it's called Retired on a Bitcoin Standard.
No, I don't know if that's what it's called anymore. YouTube took it away from me. I got carried away one day. After 10 years and 1,400 videos, they jerked my channel. And I don't know what my channel's called anymore, because I don't do too many YouTubes. I do X. X let me tell what I feel the real way and not censor me. The day of censoring Americans is over, and the EU can take that to the bank.
Oh yeah, they're
no
going
longer
after.
are they going to be able. They're not going to be able to.
Going after Elon Musk for the tune. What is it, $120 million or something?
Going after Elon Musk and his 400 billion or whatever dollars is sort of like going after. Sort of like going after an alligator with a piece of rope and smacking it across the face. I mean, if you want to go after somebody, he's not the one to go after, because he don't back down. He don't give in. He ain't Tim Cook. He's no wimp. I mean, he's no wimp. He's not going to back down. And he's got more money than the EU. The EU's broke. Yeah,
I agree. Vegas Chris says, if we're giving predictions, I say 2030 Bitcoin between $200,000 and $300,000, and we'll have a pullback to mid 150 and go sideways till the next cycle. I know the popular choice, but the mass predictors are 0 to 10 for 10 years. So in other words, all the predictions are wrong. What say you, Mark?
Well, predictions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one.
Yep, and opinions. He goes on to say, go ahead, beat me down. No, we're not going to beat you down. I'd be happy with Bitcoin at $200,000 to $300,000. Of course, who wouldn't be? Vegan Warrior says, been buy Bitcoin since $7,000. No other investment needed. Smart man, been buying it since $7,000. When did you get into Bitcoin, Mark?
My lowest purchase of Bitcoin was 15,000.
15,000. Okay.
Yeah, I was living in Vegas in 2013, 2012, and I had a young guy who was a Purdue graduate, very smart, that I played poker with when I was playing poker every day of the week. And he said, hey, I got this thing called Bitcoin. We ought to go buy something. He sat down and tried to explain it to me. And being the all-knowing, all-wise old guy, compared to him, I just said, it sounds like a scam to me. So I didn't do anything with it. And to this day, Greg, I'm so sorry. I should have listened to you, buddy. I really should have listened to you. But, he was bringing it to me. I could have bought 2,000 Bitcoin for what I sat down at the poker table with every day for a buy-in. I mean, I could have just bought it. I could have bought, $1,000 would have bought a lot. I mean, we were real early. And I didn't listen to him. So now I bought every day too. I did not do, don't think I'm in at 15,000. The second I started buying Bitcoin, it was programmatically through Swan Bitcoin every single day. They would take a weekly draw out of my checking account, and every day religiously they bought Bitcoin. So I didn't care if the price was down or up. But then when it went down to like 19 and 18 and 20 and 16, then I was like, man, I got to buy whole coins here. I got to back the truck up. So, when it was down, but I bought every day, every single day. And that gave me a real nice smooth average.
Yeah. Good. Smart man. Biggest Chris goes on to say, for the record, I will never get rid of my Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, or Tesla. Are you into any of those besides Bitcoin there, Mark?
Looking at my sheet here, I have a small amount, $26.95 a Tesla. Excuse me. Small amount. And the reason I had that is because I sold my Tesla and it was a fractional share left over and there was no way to get rid of it.
Okay.
So I kept that small amount of Tesla. But I met another guy through a YouTuber here in Pattaya, and he's in his 40s, young 40s. And all he did from 2013 was buy Tesla. He didn't buy anything else. And he is retired, sitting pretty. He bought Tesla every week like I bought Bitcoin. And believe me, he's living real well. So I miss that fact. And Tesla's doing real well.
It is.
So I think it'll be the most valuable company in the world. Not MicroStrategy. I think Tesla will be. When they start selling robots being built by other robots.
Well, I just saw an announcement by Tesla. The cost to build the robot has jumped up because they originally wanted to release the first robot at $20,000. Well, it's now costing between $40,000 and $50,000 to make the robot. So I think it's going to become a lot less attractive to a lot less people because they're simply not going to be able to afford to pay $40,000 to $50,000. Well, that's what it costs to make, so they're going to be selling it over that, probably closer to $60,000 to make profit on the robot. So I only think the people that'll be buying the robots will be the big companies out there, the Amazon.
But that's the way it was for
the factories.
That's the way it was for computers. The first people who had computers were your utility companies. The people who had computers, your utility companies used them for billing, and only corporations could afford a computer. And then it came down, and now everybody's got one on their desk. So it's going to always start with industry. But what industry? Here's a factoid nobody thinks about. Now, we're talking about humanoid robots that walk on two legs, bipedal, with two arms and fingers and everything. But there are other robots used. they're little square boxes. They run around by themselves. They got one arm, goes up and grabs something, but it's not like a hand, but it might be just whatever. Amazon has over 1 million robots in their production lines. 1 million. Now, some of them look like little square boxes running around on wheels that go pick things out of bins, and some of them just pick up a package up and put it on a conveyor belt or whatever. But they got
just an arm or something.
Yeah, just an arm or whatever. 1 million. Now, you think that if he comes out with humanoid robots that are highly trainable with AI, that they're not going to back the truck up and say, send me another 1 million and replace, is Amazon the largest employer in the United States now? I think they are.
I don't know. Good question. I'd have to search that.
We'd have to ask Grok, but I believe the largest employer in the United States is right up there. Amazon would be it. You think that they're not going to buy as many of those humanoid robots as they can, whether they're 60,000 or 100,000? They're going to buy them because they're cheaper than people. I'd love to go into Starbucks and get my coffee served by a humanoid robot over the people they're hiring there now, with a nose ring in here and a tattoo across their forehead. And,
you can actually do that in Dubai now. They have a humanoid robot at a coffee shop in Dubai. I saw it. Yeah.
So, it's always industry first, has it?
Yeah.
I had a phone in my car, my work truck in 1977. That was 10
a big
years
brick
before.
like this, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same thing the cops had in their cars. And you picked up a microphone and you talked to an operator. You told them the number you wanted to dial. And in 1977, I paid $150 a month and $1.50 a minute with a 1 minute minimum for a call.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money in 1976. Okay. And, but then it came to the masses and everybody had phones. So it's always going to be commercial first. And, Musk is smart enough to know he's not selling it to the average person for their house. It's not going to be the Jetsons and Rosie anytime soon. It's going to be the companies first. Get to another question.
Okay. Moving on along. This one's for you. It's from Fitz. It says, until he can put some meat to the bones, referring to Michael Saylor, his balance sheet won't get in. Unlike ETH bank payments, Sol merchant payments, and XRP international payments, Bitcoin has no product.
Well, I disagree. I think the product is, if you've got money and you'd like to get 10.75% interest on it, he is essentially a bank.
Yeah.
That's a product.
I agree. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, what product is a bank? Okay. What product does JP Morgan have? You give me your money, I'm going to give it to somebody else. That's the whole gig. We have 11, JP Morgan has how many $1 trillion worth of assets under management. You give them your asset, it becomes their asset. They loan it out, hypothecate it, use fractional reserve banking. That's their product. So I don't think that he's any different, except he's smart enough by offering it through the SEC, through preferreds, that he can do it. I actually think that JP Morgan would love to have preferreds. I think,
but they can't do it legally, though. That's the problem.
Well, I think they could do it legally. Okay, they could offer a preferred issuance through the SEC because they are what's called a WIXI, well-known investor securities issuer, a WIXI. There's only about 100 companies out of the 4,000 registered companies that are WIXIs. And that means that if Michael Saylor wants to have a new stock symbol and create a new preferred and wants to start issuing those preferreds with an ATM, he can do it in a day. He can file the paperwork, and he is, by being a well-known WIXI, they will let him do it automatically. I'm sure JP Morgan is also a WIXI. But here's the thing. How can JP Morgan offer somebody 10.75% return of capital on a preferred? What are they going to do to be able to make that pay money? They're used to paying 4%, or they're used to paying 3 and 4% on their money and getting 8%.
Yeah.
Or 9%. How are they going to make it work where they got to pay 10.25% for their money? What are they going to do to make that? They need Bitcoin. They need to
and that's why they brought out these Bitcoin-backed bonds through IBET. You see that?
Yes, I did. And they have to do that because they know better than anybody that you can't offer somebody in a currency that's being debased at the rate theirs is, that type of program, unless you're backed up with an asset that isn't being debased. They need hard money. Now, they could do it with gold, maybe. But I don't think gold's going to have the staying power, because there's only 21 million Bitcoin. And if
they want more gold,
if the price of gold,
that's it.
If the price of gold goes up to $10,000 tomorrow, well, that guy up there in Alaska is going to buy a few more bulldozers and a few more plants, and he's going to dig a little deeper, and they're going to make themselves a little bit more gold. If it goes up to $15,000 an ounce, they're going to buy a dozen new bulldozers, hire more people, and dig deeper and find more gold. You're not going to find more Bitcoin. Right now, every year, there's about 1.5% growth in the amount of gold in the world. And it's going to get very small for the raise in Bitcoin. After the next halving, it's going to take 130 years. I'll be long dead and gone before they ever mine
the last Bitcoin.
Mine the last Bitcoin. So JP Morgan would love to do what he's doing, but they got to have the assets. So I expect JP Morgan has been filling their bags secretly. I think you're going to find them announce that we have a Bitcoin reserve now of 100,000 Bitcoin. We've been working on it for months, or we bought it from somebody.
That's why I'm looking forward till February for their next S1 filing. So when that's released publicly, we got to move on because we're at 1 hour, 58 minutes mark. And I try and keep the show to 2 hours. So speed through the next ones. Mike Dottie says they went from approximately $7 to $38. We got 1 share for every 5 shares. Yes, correct. But it wasn't $38. They started at 35.04 is what it went to, and it's up nicely for Misty. Yield Max dirty. We kept the value, but that dividend went way down since the shares decreased. And JP said he'd never do that again. That is true, and I'd love to have him on the channel because I did see the interview he did with Retire on Dividends, and he said that they would never do a stock split again, and I want to know the reason behind it. Vegan Warrior said, Saylor, shaking my head. Jesus Christ, Christmas, shaking my effing head. Vegas Chris says, robot prices will come down as they get normalized. I agree. I think Mark's correct in his assessment that they're going to be putting it out so only industries and rich folks can afford it. You know, people with yachts will have them, and they'll probably be working as bartenders on their big yachts, you know, with their $1 million friends, you know, and having champagne on the yachts and stuff like that. You maybe see a few famous actors get them, you know, and have them as butlers in their house, whatever. But yeah, I think the price will come down because they're going to want to make it more affordable for the ordinary Joe out there. Vegas Chris says, big screen TVs you had to get a loan on. Now you get for cheap. Cell phones you get for nothing, and so on. Robots will also come down after the dust settles. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a couple years out. What say you, Mark? You think it's going to... Elon's going to wait for a couple years out, like he did for the new Tesla car, to lower the price down to $20,000 for the new Tesla? Do you think he's probably a couple years out from lowering the price?
2035.
2035.
2035.
You think it's going to be about 10 years out?
Yeah, I think 2035 you'll be able to get a robot for 35. Well, here. You'll be able to get a robot for 35,000 cluck bucks. But by 2035 it'll probably be 70,000 because your US dollar is going to be devalued by so much that it'll probably be 70,000, and that's going to be the price of, you know, what you'd think 35 is today.
Yeah.
I think in 10 years, the value of buying power, you know, if you buy a loaf of bread for $2 a day, you're going to spend $4 for it. You know, that's why everybody is messing with the stock market. If you just I would love it if you could just find a way to put your money away and do okay. You can't with the debasement of the currency that everybody's selling you things in. You know, it costs me, when I bring money over to Thailand, it costs me an extra $60 the last time I brought the same amount of money over than it did this time. For 100,000 baht to be sent over by Wise, I spent $60 more money. So it's a little over 3,000 US dollars to get 100,000 baht sent to your bank over here. And it cost me, I just noticed on my account, it cost me an extra 60 bucks from 1 week to the next. So, you know, the value of Dixie is down, and it's 31 now. We're in the 31s. If I go up here and look at my stock chart, right now it's showing 31.83 US dollar to Thai baht through my TradingView program.
We need to get back above 32, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but you know, if you take perspective and put it in the plan, it wasn't that long ago. It was 28 too. It was 37. I was here when it was 37s. And
I was here when it was 70. When it was 70 baht to the dollar.
Wow.
Yep, 70 baht to the dollar. I was here when it was 70 baht to the dollar at the millennium.
20 years old?
No, that was back in the millennium, so 25 years ago.
25 years ago. Golly.
Yeah,
you know,
70
you know
baht
what I
to the
remember
dollar.
about 25 years ago? I could see my feet better.
That's called old age, Mark. Vegas Chris says robot vending machines on wheels in Singapore. We got robot machines here. We go to the what's it called, Circle restaurant here, and you get the vending machine, come up to the table, and it brings your food. The robot. You seen that, Mark?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've never been there. You got to take me for dinner.
Okay, we'll do. You're paying. You got more Bitcoin than me.
Wait, you
Alpha Romeo says, I've been buying Bitcoin for a year now. I was orange pilled by 2 characters wearing orange shirts, me and Brooke, yes, we're guilty for that, on a drive to the taco house in the dark side. Thanks, gentlemen. IDCA and holding. Grazie mille. He's from Italy. He's a Canadian Italian. JJ says Walmart is the #1 employer in the U.S.
Okay. That was always my goal, to be a Walmart greeter.
Really? No. Biggest Chris says, I'm waiting for the financial planner robot. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, I
If you
do
could
that
find a
every
robot
year.
that could trade better on the stock exchange than what you could.
I use ChatGPT and Grok every day for financial advice and planning. Seriously, every day. I use it to help me write strategies and back testing methods for stocks. It's amazing. I've been writing computer code since 1980.
Yeah.
And it writes it way faster than I can. I just tell it what I want, then I check it out, and I make changes, and I tell it what I want, and it makes the changes. It's way faster than I am. So I use it every day. Anybody who isn't using AI every day is missing out on something.
Alpha Romeo says, hello, Mark. Nice to have you on Cooper's live stream.
Thank you.
Biggest Chris says, thanks, Coop and Mark, for all of the alpha. Wishing everyone a great FOMC speech tomorrow. Well, that's today in Thailand. I'll be on a plane to Manila and onwards to Phuket. Okay, have a safe flight there, Vegas Chris, and looking forward to you coming up towards Jomtien area. And last comment goes to Vegas Chris, who says 33 likes. What? Pound it, people. Yes, please. If you're watching on the live stream, pound the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost you a penny. Thank you, Mark, so much for coming on and joining us. Wow, I'm out of breath. Great debate. I love having debate with intellectual people, even if they disagree. I love it. I want more of it. We should have more people like Mark come onto the live stream and debate me. I like it. And any last words for you, Mark?
God bless. And I want to ask one thing. If you got a chance, everyone in the world needs a little bit of encouragement, especially if you're over here in Thailand. There's a lot of people here in Thailand who might not be as fortunate as you are, who need a little encouragement. And you know what? You can give it to them, and it costs you absolutely nothing. So if you can, for this holiday season, if you can give somebody a little bit of encouragement in any way, shape, or form, do it. Do it for yourself. It'll make you feel good.
Well said, brother. Well said. Much appreciated. And until Saturday's live stream, or my last live stream in Thailand before we go on vacation, it's Darlene's birthday. My wife's birthday is on Saturday. So come one, come all, help celebrate her birthday. And until then, take care. God bless, and stay tuned.
Woke up in the land of smiles, sun shining bright. Elephants wandering through the morning light. Temples glow with gold, the air's alive. Thailand's magic got me feeling so high. From the markets buzzing, colors so bold, to the stories in the streets, ancient and old. Every corner's got a vibe, it's calling my name. Cooper's out here, and I'm loving the game. Cooper's Thaiadventure. Oh, what a thrill. Chasing the beauty from the sea to the hills. Cooper's Thaiadventure. Can't get enough. Thailand's got my heart. It's the land that I love. It's the land that I love. golden beaches, sand so soft and white, crystal waves crashing under starlit nights, snorkel in the cold, dance in the tide. Every moment's a wave, I just wanna ride. Pad thai sizzling, spice lights up my soul. Mango sticky rice, yeah, it makes me whole. Tom Yum's got that kick, flavor so divine. Thailand's food's a feast and it's blowing my mind. Coopersthaiadventure, oh what a thrill. Chasing the beauty from the sea to the hills. Coopersthaiadventure, can't get it enough. Thailand's got my heart, it's still my heart. It's the land that I love. It's the land that I love. It's the land that I love. From Chiang Mai's mountains to Koh Samui's shore, every step's a story, I'm craving for more. Smiles all around, the people so kind. Thailand's a treasure that's one of a kind. Floating markets, lanterns in the sky, festivals that spark like the stars up high. Jungles whisper secrets, rivers carve the land. Cooper's holding Thailand in the palm of my hand. Elephants roam in the sunset's blaze. Every day's a wonder lost in a daze. From spicy street eats to the ocean's embrace, Thailand's a paradise I'll never erase. Coopersthaiadventure, oh what a thrill. Chasing the beauty from the sea to the hills. Coopersthaiadventure, can't get it enough. Thailand's got my heart, it's the land that I love. So here's to the nights, the sights and the dreams. Thailand's a wonder bursting at the seams. Coopersthaiadventure, forever I'll stay in the land of smiles, where my heart swept away.